Hey there, I'm Eric, and I'm one of the contributors to a project called Sequin. And Sequin is one of the easiest ways to turn any Postgres table into a stream. And one of the great tools we can connect to is TinyBird. And in this video, we want to show you how to quickly use Sequin to capture every change from your Postgres database and stream it directly to TinyBird in real time. And there's a ton of reasons you might want to do this. Postgres is probably your application database. It's where all the orders or posts or user interactions for your application are happening. But TinyBird with ClickHouse is a much more powerful analytics database for you to generate big insights about that data, to generate user-facing analytics, to query that data. Lots of reasons to do this. Sequin allows you to do this really easily. So let's show you how. It's really going to be three main steps. We're going to connect a database to Sequin. And in this case, we're going to use a Neon database. Then we're going to connect TinyBird to Sequin, and then we're going to watch the data flow. So to get things started, I have a Neon database set up. I have a really simple orders table with a bunch of fake orders data in it that we'll use as an example. Let's get this connected to Sequin. So I'm going to go over to my dashboard, and I'm going to copy this connection string. I'm going to go over to Sequin, and I'm going to click Connect Database. I'm going to paste in that connection string. So now let me connect to this Neon. Great. So the database is connected. It can see that table, and everything's working there. Now let's get TinyBird connected to Sequin. So here's my TinyBird console. I'm going to go create a data source. We'll do an events API. And we are just going to post right here, right? So this is giving me the endpoint. So let me just copy this endpoint, head over to Sequin, HTTP endpoints, create our first endpoint. We'll call this TinyBird. Let me paste that in. And there's some authentication on this endpoint, as you can see here, right? We have an authorization key. So I'm going to add an encrypted header so that Sequin stores this in an encrypted fashion. Very good security token. Got that. Just make sure that I captured the whole thing. Great. So now we have this, and this is what's going to send the data to TinyBird, and we have our database connected. Now we need to add a consumer that's going to capture all the changes from the database, process them, and send them to TinyBird until TinyBird acknowledges them and exactly wants processing guarantee. So let me go over to consumers. I'm going to click create consumer. We'll select that orders table. We'll capture all the rows. So what's really powerful about rows is anytime there's an update or create, it's going to send that data to TinyBird. We'll select a column to sort by. We can do ID. And we can go from the beginning of the table. No need to add any filters. We'll do a push consumer so that we push it to TinyBird. Now let's select that TinyBird endpoint, and we'll create the consumer. Great. And you can see all of those messages that were previously in the table have been acknowledged and sent to TinyBird. We can go into our messages observation tab, and we can see the logs and the performance of those deliveries. But when we go over to TinyBird now, we'll see that we have this data. Throws have come through. And if we go into Neon and we create a bunch of additional rows, so if I go over to Sequin, we'll see that we've now generated more rows. And when we go over to TinyBird, refresh, all flowing through nicely. Great. So that's how easy it is to connect a Postgres database to TinyBird. Now you have all the power of Postgres with all the power of ClickHouse. And what Sequin is providing in the middle is a really easy to use, scalable stream built on Postgres. So really cool solution. We're around if you have any questions. Thanks so much.